TIFU when I didn't give my number to a flight attendant. Earlier this week I, 19F, started my 3-month traveling journey through Australia. While on my first flight over to Australia with Korean Air, I fell in love with the flight attendant. Our first interaction was when I was lifting my backpack up to put in the overhead bins when someone grabbed it from me and put it in. When I looked, there was this beautiful Korean guy, the flight attendant in question. I thanked him. Later I asked him if he or one of his colleagues could come check on me after takeoff since I was afraid I was going to have a panic attack. He assured me that he would be there for me if needed and that he would keep an eye on me. Everything went fine, and after the meal was served we started chatting a bit. I had the 3 seats to myself, which was nice cause we could have a good normal talk. At one point he came with a handful of snacks and a drink and all gave them to me. After that we started talking about my home county where we flew from in Korea, both saying that we wanted to actually visit each other's home country someday. At one point it was 3 a.m. and almost everyone was asleep except me. Which at that point he come up to me again and we started chatting again. He asked me about my age, and when I told him I was 19 I could tell that he was a few years older by his reaction. Nonetheless we still continued talking. When we landed I was one of the last ones to get off the plane cause I don't like to rush, and I had a 4-hour overlay anyway. At that point I was thinking about giving him my number, but I didn't have any paper. When I was grabbing my stuff we talked a little more and he asked me about my name. I told him my name and he told me his. At that moment I should have given my number. I deeply regret not giving him my number. I told him that if he is ever in my home country he should come and find me. And that I wouldn't know how, but that he needed to. That's when I walked off the plane and already knew that I made a big mistake. It was a risk that I should have taken. So dear readers, if you ever meet a guy with the same story, let me know, and I will own my life to you. TL. Dear, I fell in love with my flight attendant and didn't give him my number. And now I have been regretting it every single day. Sounds like you aren't a good enough Facebook stalker. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Honestly, flight attendants are meant to be very friendly and accommodating. Not saying he wasn't flirting, but very well could have just been doing his job. When it comes to service staff, don't mistake kindness for flirting. It makes things awkward for both parties. Remember, they're being paid to be nice. Sort of like strippers. Hint to guys. When the stripper flirts with you, they don't love you. You are their customer. Hint to OP. Same thing. Korean Air attendants pride themselves on being the best of the best. It's an insanely competitive job. It sounds like you were just an extra needy passenger and he went above and beyond like he was supposed to. He probably thought you were a minor. It's not okay to ask people out when they're trapped in the sky with you and working. I suspect that you're mistaking politeness for interest. Had the genders been reversed, it would be clear this was the case. Damn, that sucks. You should have just given him your number on a napkin or something. But hey, at least you got some free snacks out of it. Maybe next time don't wait until 3 a.m. to make a move. Just saying. Sounds to me like he is great at his job and professional. You told him to check on you. He did. And you somehow interpreted that as romantic interest. It wasn't. When service staff are nice to you, it doesn't mean they are hitting on you. I think the simple answer here, and this goes for all service staff, is that the most likely scenario is he's just a nice guy going above and beyond because he's a nice guy. The most respectful thing you can do in the scenario is give him the number and not put any pressure on him. Don't make him answer anything about do you want to meet up or anything like that. Just giving your number on a napkin or something. Tell him you really appreciate his help and that you'd love to meet up if he has time. That's it. 19F. I fell in love with the flight attendant. Dial it back. You're infatuated with a flight attendant because he's cute. He probably didn't want you going into a meltdown mid-flight and disrupting other passengers. You tell him you're needy as you get on. Then he checks in a customer service capacity, to your neediness. Everyone else is asleep and you're still needy, so he checks in again because you should be sleeping but you're not, so maybe something is wrong, and tries to assess if you're unstable and perhaps placates you with snacks. Everyone has disembarked the plane and you're still being needy, but him and his crew are on the clock, so he comes to assist speed things along. He was working in a customer-facing role doesn't mean he was flirting with you. He just didn't want you to have a breakdown at 30,000 feet and didn't want to be working any longer than he already had to. Hey, I mean seriously, please stop tacky BG love at first sight movie seriously and do end up taking that same flight. I'm sure, and I do really wish you meet him again. Pav, you just watched Love at First Sight on Netflix and now want that story. You know he can take your number down on his phone, right? Doesn't have to be on paper. People still give numbers on paper in 2023? Time to open Korean Air LinkedIn and start browsing. If he actually wanted, he could have asked your number or left his. He didn't, so you could have only been a friendly chat. Probably like he have in most of his job flight. Like any relationship, it always goes both way and both side have the same opportunity to ask, give phone number. You may have a crush on him but doesn't mean he had one. Men can friendzone women too. And don't forget that his job let him meet plenty of people. You now must spend all your money flying that same route over and over until you see him again. A flight attendant? You may have saved yourself a disappointment.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.